Welcome back. All right, 14 games. The last really big day. The last time I'll need this column. And it kind of hit me today. It's I've been going day after day after day after day through all these. I haven't had days off. I haven't had really time to sit back and say, wait, it's almost over? And it hit me today. It hit me today when I'm watching a couple of these games and I'm like, so this is the last series for Detroit. And I'm like, oh, yeah, right. Right. The playoffs are coming. So we still don't know the playoff schedule. We still aren't even sure of all of the matchups, although we know of one so far that at least as far as I can tell. If my math's a little dodgy at this point, it's because I'm not used to going to 56 games. I'm used to going to 82. I'm used to it, like, maybe that's part of what's happening, that it just feels like, wait, we're just getting started. Oh, it's over. So, and that's a good sign. That's a good sign. That's why I like 56 games in a schedule. That's why I love the 48 game schedules, because it felt like before you can get tired of it, before you have those downbeats, like during a normal regular season, there's those games in January, there's those nights where it's like, oh, this season's going to go on forever. We didn't have that this year. Unless you cheer for these guys, it might have felt like it went on forever. So I'm wearing Buffalo for a simple reason. Next year has to be better. And I am fully behind the idea of Buffalo has to get better. So I did something different here. We have two games that start at 3 o'clock Pacific Eastern, which is noon my time, right? So we're doing the preview beforehand, and then we have all these games that start at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, and then we have a couple at 8, and then we have them at 10 and 10:30. So let's go through this. And again, I've done this a little bit different. The Rangers 26-23-6 overall. Boston 32-14-7. Boston's won 5 out of 7. So the players that I've put on the board are the ones that I think, just me, I think is the MVP of each team. So there you go. Marchand would be the MVP for me with the Bruins. 27 goals, 38 assists, 65 points. And I know Bruins fans have been mumbling about, whether or not he might get a Hart vote here and there. Nobody thinks he'd be a favorite because McDavid exists, but yeah, I mean, he might get a vote here and there. And on the Rangers side, I went with Artemi Panarin, 17 goals, 41 assists, 58 points over their last 10. Boston 7-2-1, and the Rangers 3-7. They've lost 5 in a row. There's no playoffs for the Rangers. If the Bruins win this game tomorrow, they at least get third in the division. That would make it so that the Islanders can't catch them. So, yeah. Then at 3 p.m. Eastern as well, 12 o'clock, so noon Pacific, Buffalo in against the Pittsburgh Penguins. So you will get a video reviewing these two games, and then we'll do the review of the other 12. And then, of course, the power rankings. I don't need to do a preview tomorrow night because we don't have any matinee games on Sunday, which is weird. So Buffalo 15-33-7. They've lost 6 out of 7 against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's 36-16-3. And again, I'm just wearing Buffalo because, I feel the pain. I mean, they came in with Vancouver, and it just feels like these organizations are twin pain. Reinhart is, I think, the MVP for Buffalo. 25 goals, 15 assists, 40 points. And I had to go with Sid the Kid for Pittsburgh. 24 goals, 38 assists, 62 points. Over their last 10, Buffalo 3-7. Obviously not making the playoffs. Pittsburgh 8-2. And they can clinch first by my math if they win this one tomorrow. So if it's Pittsburgh and the Islanders in the first round, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. The Islanders start at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific at home against New Jersey. New Jersey's 19-28-7. The Islanders 31-17-6. The Islanders have won 5 out of 7 in this series. But of course, New Jersey showed that they're not a pushover in the last meeting between these two. Jack Hughes, to me, has been the MVP for New Jersey. You can make an argument for Blackwood. You can make an argument for Sharon Govich as well. But to me, I would go with Hughes. 11 goals and 20 assists. Ironically, the MVP before the trade deadline for me would have been Palmieri, who since going to the Islanders has not provided a spark for them at all. It's been a bad fit, so Palmieri probably goes back to New Jersey this summer, I would think. Over their last 10, the Islanders, or the New Jersey Devils, I should say, are 5-4-1. Obviously not going to the playoffs. The Islanders, for the MVP for me, it's Varlamov. 19-11-4, 930 save percentage, 7 shutouts. To me, he's been their MVP. They are 4-4-2 in their last 10. And again, if they lose, that means 4th. Boston wins, that means they're 4th in the division. And so it's a road team from there. But the Islanders do like being underdogs, so we'll see how it goes. 7 Eastern is the start time, 4 p.m. Pacific. for Philadelphia and against the Washington Capitals. Philadelphia now 24-23-7 after beating the Capitals tonight. The Capitals 34-15-5. The Capitals have won 5 out of 7 between these teams. MVP for me with Philadelphia, I went with Couturier. 17 goals, 22 assists, 39 points. I still think he's their MVP. I've said it for years. It hasn't changed. They're 4-5-1 in their last 10, and of course, they're not making the playoffs. On the Washington side, I went with Backstrom as their MVP. 15 goals, 38 assists, 53 points. You can make an argument for Ovechkin at times. You could make an argument for Vanacek at certain points of the season, or Samsonov, or Carlson. But I'm going to go with Backstrom. 15 goals, 38 assists, 53 points. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10, and they could finish anywhere from first to third. They'd need some help to finish first, though, from Buffalo. So, yeah. 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Tampa Bay's in against Florida. These teams are going to get to know each other very, very well. 36-15-3 is the record for Tampa. 35-14-5 is the record for Florida. They've both won 3 times against each other. Vasilevsky's the MVP for me with Tampa. 31-8-1 with him in the net. 928 save percentage. On the Florida side, I went with Barkov. 26 goals, 30 assists, 56 points. He's been great this year. 7-2-1 is the record for Tampa over their last 10. Florida's 8-2. They've won 4 in a row. And as I said, they'll meet in the first round. Second and third. Basically, what's on the line here is home ice advantage in these next 2 games, deciding who gets home ice and who doesn't. Detroit and Columbus will meet for the final time of the season. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. Detroit, definitely fighting for some pride here. 19-27-9 is their overall record up. That's not bad. Like, comparatively speaking with last season, that's not bad. And the Columbus Blue Jackets 17-26-12. Detroit has won 4 out of 7 now in this matchup, so we'll see how it goes tomorrow. For MVP for Detroit, it was tough. I went with Bernier, 9-11-1 with the 914 save percentage. On the Columbus side, I went with Bjorkstrand, 17 goals, 25 assists, 42 points. Over their last 10, both of them are below 500. 3-4-3 for Detroit, 2-5-3 for Columbus, and of course, neither of them are going to the playoffs. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. Montreal, 24-20-9, in against the 34-13-6 Toronto Maple Leafs, who have won 6 out of 9 in the series against Montreal Canadiens. Toffoli was my pick for MVP for Montreal. 28 goals, 15 assists for him. And Austin Matthews, because it has to be 40 goals, 24 assists. The last time somebody had 40 goals in less than 50 games in the NHL, it was a guy named Pavel Bure. That's how elite this season's been for him. Over their last 10, Montreal's 5-5. Toronto's 6-2-2. A win can clinch this for Montreal and just end all the drama. So they'll be looking to clinch. First place can be clinched for Toronto with 1 point tomorrow. So first place and then home ice throughout the Northern Division playoffs. Then at 7 o'clock Eastern as well, 4 o'clock Pacific, the Ottawa Senators, who are 21-27-5, in against the 28-21-3 Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg's won 6 out of 9 in this series so far this year. Looking to get rolling. They've got to get rolling because teams that are hot going into the playoffs are normally hot in the playoffs. Teams that enter the playoffs on a cold streak very often are cold in the playoffs. For the Ottawa Senators, I went with Tkachuk as MVP. He was named their MVP by the team today as well. 17 goals, 18 assists, 35 points. And Hellebuck for the Jets. They go as far as he'll take them. 22-16-3 with a 915 save percentage. 7-2-1 record for Ottawa. They're not making the playoffs, but over their last 10, 7-2-1 tells you they're playing spoiler very well. The Jets 3-7 over their last 10, and they're very likely third in the division. Be kind of a surprise if they're not. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, we have the Carolina Hurricanes in against Nashville. Nashville needs a point to eliminate Dallas. 1 point. They don't need to win, and they can't. They've lost all 6 games against Carolina. Carolina's 36-10-8. Nashville's 29-23-2. For MVP, I went with Aho for the Carolina Hurricanes. 24 goals, 33 assists, 57 points. And for Nashville, I went with Saros. He's a big part of the turnaround. 20-11-1 with a 927 save percentage. Yeah, pretty good. He might get a Vezina vote here and there. Over their last 10, Carolina's 7-0-3. Nashville 5-4-1. They've cooled down, but again, they just need a point now to clinch. Carolina has clinched first place. Maybe they rest some guys tomorrow. Maybe that helps Nashville. Nashville, a win clinches 4th place. A point clinches 4th place. So 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific as well. We'll see Anaheim and the Ducks go, or Anaheim and the Wild go at it for a final time. Not Anaheim and the Ducks. Minnesota's 6-1. against the Ducks with that win tonight, but Anaheim made it tough, made them work for it. 17-30-8 is the record for Anaheim. 34-14-5 is the record for Minnesota. Comtois, 15 goals, 16 assists. I picked him as their MVP because it's tough to find somebody that you look at on the Ducks and say that's the guy from start to finish of the season that's been their MVP. I'm going with Comtois. Kaprizov, 27 goals, 22 assists, 49 points. He's been absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. He's the Calder winner. Sorry. 3-6-1's the record for Anaheim over their last 10. They're not making the playoffs. Minnesota's 7-1-2 in their last 10. They can finish anywhere from first to third. Anywhere in that range, they can finish. We'll see how it goes. Then at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, the Vancouver Canucks in against the Edmonton Oilers. Vancouver's not technically eliminated yet, but they're going to be. 20-25-3 is the record for Vancouver. Edmonton's won 5 out of 8 against Vancouver. They have 2 left. Edmonton, 32-18-2. Brock Besser's the MVP for the Canucks. 20 goals, 21 assists, 41 points. Not too shabby for a guy that is recently as last summer. There were a lot of discussions of whether maybe he wants to go, and he doesn't try hard enough. And I heard that, and I thought, I don't know what Brock they're watching. McDavid, obviously MVP. 31 goals, 65 assists, 96 points. That's absolutely ridiculous. McDavid has more assists than Crosby has points. Let that sink in. 3-7 over their last 10 for Vancouver. They have 8 games left. It's going to be Vancouver and Calgary are going to be playing their games while playoff games are happening. The Oilers are 7-3, and they're very likely second in the division. Be kind of surprised if they don't finish in that spot. And then at 10 Eastern as well, 7 Pacific, the 24-19-9 St. Louis Blues, who just clinched tonight. Vegas is 5-2 against them now. They're 38-13-2 overall. MVPs, Ryan O'Reilly for me with St. Louis, 23 goals, 27 assists. Marc-Andre Fleury, who's 24-10 with a .926 save percentage. Hard to go against him for the MVP. St. Louis 5-2-3, and again they've clinched fourth. They can't go any higher up. 5-2-3 over their last 10, and Vegas very likely first. They're 8-2 in their last 10. 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, the 35-13-4 Colorado Avalanche, who still have hope for first place, in against LA yet again. They've won 5 out of 6 against LA. LA's 21-25-6 overall, and they're eliminated. McKinnon is the MVP for me with Colorado. 20 goals, 45 assists, 65 points. Kopitar, to me, is the MVP for the Kings. 13 goals, 37 assists, 50 points. Over their last 10, Colorado 6-4. Could finish anywhere from first to third in the division. And LA, of course, 5-5 over their last 10, and they're not making the playoffs. And then we get into 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, meaning the review's going to be late tomorrow, and the power rankings will likely be a little bit after midnight. But yeah, Arizona 23-26-6. They've won 4 out of 7 against San Jose. San Jose 21-27-6. For me, the MVP for Arizona, I would go with Kessel. 19 goals, 21 assists, 40 points with the 2 points tonight. They're 3-6-1 in their last 10. Obviously not in the playoffs. Evander Kane, I think, has been the MVP for San Jose. 22 goals, 26 assists, 48 points for Kane. And over their last 10, they're 3-5-2, not going into the playoffs. So there you go. 14 games, all previewed up. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And for a lot of these teams, tomorrow is the end of it. And yeah, and then there's 2 things. I do the final power rankings of the season tomorrow night. That's it. The next power rankings will probably be right around draft time, and I start working on boards for the playoff series and start working on the format for the playoff series. And for teams that miss the playoffs, I do a video series on that as well. I haven't done that series since 2 years ago because last year was just kind of, last year was just with the shutdown and everything, it was just all a disjointed weirdness of a season. This year it's going to feel more normal, and yet it's going to be a shortened off season by about a month. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And don't worry, this guy still does a lot of videos during the summer. So even when hockey's not on, hockey's always on here. 365 days a year. 366 on a leap year. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Let me know your winners in the comment section below as always. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Very popular to do that recently. And hey, Thanks for all your support. I'll talk to you again in the morning.